Today, we're going to unpack one of the most incredible reversals of fortune you can imagine. It's a real boom and bust story, you know? A story about public opinion and how it can all change in just a matter of days. It's about a leader who is offered a crown and then does everything he can to reject it.
So that brings us to the big question we're tackling today. How on earth do you go from being so popular that people are literally trying to force you to be their king to being almost totally abandoned just a few days later? What could possibly happen to cause that kind of spectacular collapse? Okay, so we're going to be looking at a timeline here. Now, on the surface, it just looks like a list of events. But when you dig in, you realize that hidden inside these few days is this high-stakes drama of miracles, political pressure, and a huge spiritual clash that really changes absolutely everything. We're zeroing in on this really critical moment right around the third Passover of Jesus' ministry.
Our story kicks off on the shores of the Sea of Galilee, right near a town called Bethsaida. And this is the moment, the exact moment when Jesus' popularity is about to just explode. The stage is set for something truly amazing.
Just try to get your head around this number. We are not talking about some small gathering. This is a massive crowd, more than 5,000 people, who followed Jesus out to a pretty remote spot. They're hungry, and he performs one of his most famous miracles, feeding all of them. I mean, you can just imagine. This one act sends his popularity into the stratosphere.
And look at how the crowd immediately interprets this. They don't just see a great teacher. No, they see a provider. They see a leader who can solve their real, tangible problems. They see a king. And their reaction is so intense that they decide right then and there to just seize him and make him their political ruler by force. This is it. This is the absolute high point of his popularity.
But right here is where the story takes this wild, dramatic turn. He's being offered the crown, everything they think he wants. And he doesn't just say no. He actively starts to dismantle the entire situation. He rejects the very power his followers are so desperate to hand him. And he moves so fast. Look at this. It's like bam, bam, bam. Step 1, he gets his inner circle, the disciples, out of there onto a boat. Step 2, he disperses this massive, hyped-up crowd. And finally, step 3, he completely removes himself from the picture, heading up to a mountain all alone. This isn't just a simple no thank you. It's a strategic, immediate de-escalation of the whole thing.
Then, later that night, something else happens that just perfectly illustrates the point he's trying to make. He performs another mind-blowing miracle, walking on water, but this one's totally different. It's not for the thousands. It's a private moment, just for his disciples. And what's their reaction? It's not political. They don't say, "You're our king." They say, "Truly, you are the Son of God." See? He's actively shifting their understanding of who he is and what his power is all about.
So the next day, the crowds track him down again. They find him in the synagogue at Capernaum, and they're still buzzing from yesterday's miracle. They're probably expecting an encore, you know? More signs, more free food. But instead, Jesus delivers a sermon that is going to challenge everything they believe and send his popularity absolutely plummeting. I mean, you gotta wonder, right? What could he possibly say that would undo all that incredible goodwill he just built? What words could be so challenging that they would turn this adoring crowd completely on him? And here it is. This is the heart of the whole conflict. The crowd wants more of what they got yesterday. They want physical science, actual bread they can eat. They're stuck on a material level. But Jesus, he pivots entirely. He offers them something completely different, something spiritual. He offers them himself. This is the key line. I am the bread of life. He's basically telling them, hey, stop focusing on the loaves of bread I made. You're missing the point. I am the bread. I am the source of real spiritual life. Now, that was a radical idea. He completely rejected the role of political problem solver and claimed to be spiritual food itself. And for a lot of people, that was just a bridge too far. The reaction to this sermon wasn't, a polite debate. It was immediate, and it was brutal. The boom of his popularity was about to be met with a bust that was just as dramatic. And the account is incredibly blunt about it. It just says, many disciples deserted him. And we're not talking about casual fans here. The word disciples means these were committed followers. The same people who wanted to make him king a day ago are now literally turning their backs and walking away in droves. His tough words just shattered his support base. The desertion is so massive, so complete, that Jesus turns to his closest friends, the 12, and asks this absolutely heart-wrenching question. You're not going to leave too, are you? That one question just reveals how deep the rejection went. His entire movement has shrunk from thousands to just a tiny handful of guys, and now even their loyalty is being tested. So now, with the crowds gone, the whole nature of the conflict changes. It's not about managing public expectations anymore. Now it's a head-on confrontation with the established religious leaders who've come all the way from Jerusalem just to challenge him.
And this next argument is the perfect example of the new battleground. The Pharisees come at him with this external, ceremonial issue. Your disciples don't wash their hands the proper way before they eat. But Jesus does that pivot again, just like he did with the bread. He shifts the focus from their external rules to the internal state of the heart.
So let's just quickly recap this whole whirlwind. You have the boom, a massive miracle that sparks a political frenzy. Then the pivot. He totally rejects that political role and claims a spiritual one. Then the fallout, a mass desertion of his followers. And finally, the new conflict, this intense clash between internal faith and external rules, all in just a couple of days.
So what's the bottom line here? What are the big takeaways? Well, first, it's clear that Jesus deliberately chose to walk away from the political role people wanted for him to define his own spiritual mission. Second, that choice was not popular. It cost him almost everything, at least in the short term. Third, as soon as the fickle crowds disappeared, his opposition became much more organized and official. And finally, the whole debate shifted from what he could do for people to what he was asking them to be. It became a clash between outward rituals and inward belief. And that leaves us with one last, kind of provocative thought to chew on. This whole story, pulled from a simple timeline, really makes us ask a pretty universal question, one that's just as relevant now as it was 2,000 years ago. What's the real cost of being true to your own mission, especially when it goes against everything the world and even your biggest fans expect of you?